I'm a guy that's 26. Each day I build with bricks. I like Star Wars playsets. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back on another video, and this is going to be another episode of Your Questions Answered. If you're unfamiliar with it, Your Questions Answered is a Q&A series that I do here on the channel, so if you want to see one of your questions answered in the video, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it is Lego, Star Wars, or Lego Star Wars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. First question comes from good old Alex McBrick. He says, great video Jay as always. Thank you, Alex. I've noticed a theme in the last YQA episodes, which is how your Lego hobby and mindset are evolving. Your attitude towards Harry Potter has changed. Your attitude towards custom minifigs has also changed. Do you think your mindset about the helmet sets could change in the future, or has it changed at all already? Or are you still unhappy with how the inclusion of helmets are at the expense of playsets? This is a wonderful question. So I guess I do have to give somewhat of an update to the helmet wars, so to speak. For those of you who are just completely clueless as to what the heck we're talking about 2 years ago, 2020, Lego Star Wars started making these helmet sets. And long story short, those helmets effectively replaced what previously was like a wave of sets, a wave of play sets specifically that would come out in April. They just started releasing only helmets in April. At the time, I thought it was kind of insane that, you know, a toy company like Lego would forego an entire wave of play sets in lieu of these 18 plus helmet sets. I just never thought I'd see the day where Lego would release a complete line of Star Wars sets and not a single one of them were aimed at the target demographic of kids and being play sets. They continued that into 2021, but with 2022, it seems very much so that their attitude is different. For one, the waves are a little bit more ambiguous now. It seems that they're just kind of like sprinkling small groups of sets like almost every month, it seems. It's not so much anymore as we're getting the strict, you know, January wave, April wave, and then summer wave anymore. Now it's more so the case that we're getting like sets in January, and then some sets in March, and then some sets in April, and I think there's like, you know, the Mando set comes out in June, and then we're probably going to get some more stuff during the summer. So that being said, the helmet wars, so to speak, are effectively over. We're not exclusively just getting helmets for an entire wave without some play sets along the side. Like, for example, the most recent wave of sets that had the helmets in them, they were accompanied by two play sets, the Boba Fett Palace and the Dark Trooper attack set. So this is such a move in a positive direction with Lego. My issue was never so much with the helmets as builds themselves, but more so just with the fact that they were replacing playsets. Now, as for just, I guess, my opinion on the helmets themselves, they still just aren't really my forte when it comes to Lego Star Wars sets. I think that if I wanted like a big helmet, I wouldn't really care to have like a Lego version of it. I would probably want one of those like Black Series or other custom replicas of helmets. So I definitely don't feel like there's a place in my collection for the helmets. They just don't really do much for me. I am much more interested in, you know, vehicles and play sets and things of that regard. But I definitely don't have as much disdain for those helmets as I used to, given that they're not completely replacing an entire wave of play sets anymore. So great question, Alex. It was a great opportunity for me to give an update to the boyos about kind of where I stood with the helmet sets. And yeah, I just kind of ignore them at this point. Like, they aren't nearly as offensive to me as they were at the beginning. Next question comes from Warsaw Builds. He says, do you ever find yourself playing with your MOCs? I always thought I would, but I get more enjoyment from building, and I'm worried I'll break something. I'm playing with MOCs all the time. I mean, if you guys have ever seen me do like a build stream where I'm, you know, working on one of my MOCs, like I'll play with them just kind of on a whim. I think that's just one of the fun things you can do with your builds. You know, take yourself to that back to that childlike stage where you would, you know, envision these large battles going on, and now we have the ability to build whatever we want. I think it'd be a disservice to yourself to not, you know, get down and kind of envision, you know, the battle that your child self would have envisioned happening on these builds that you're making nowadays. Next question is from Dylan Productions. He says, hello, if you're going to make a MOC from each movie, what would you choose? For an extra challenge, this question doesn't count MOCs you've already done. Great question. I went ahead and made my list to this question, so let's go ahead and run it it off for you guys. For episode 1, I'm going to go with Naboo. I think the obvious one for me is the pod race, but I've kind of already done the pod race and I still plan on doing one. So for putting the pod race aside, Naboo would definitely be the way to go. Naboo has so many scenes, such a variety of things that you could build, and I think that it could be one giant, amazing, insanely detailed MOC with such a variety of things, whether it be the hangar, whether it be the Gungan droid battle, whether it be the Theed Palace, whether it be the big energy generator room where Darth Maul fights our heroes. There's just such a variety of things you could do on Naboo, so that would be my episode 1 choice. Episode 2 choice is obviously Geonosis. Like, that's for me the no-brainer. There's once again just such a variety of things you could do, whether it be the arena, whether it be the land battle, whether it be where Yoda and Count Dooku fight, or the droid factory. There's just a good variety of things you can do there as well. For episode 3, I'm going to go with Mustafar. This was always one that I wanted to do. I think Mustafar is it's an awesome Star Wars location, and I still have not yet seen someone do a large version of it incorporating Anakin and Obi-Wan minifigures. So that would be my episode 3 choice. For episode 4, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm just going to go with a big Death Star layout. I did Starkiller Base, which kind of quenched my thirst for that, but I think at some point I would still love to attempt like a Death Star layout akin to what Brick Plumber has done. Number 5 would be a giant Echo base interior. Now, a lot of people, when they think of episode 5, they're like, oh, you gotta do Hoth, obviously, or even Cloud City. And Hoth is obviously one of the most popular MOC locations for good reason. It's a great battle to recreate. Rather than just recreating the battle, however, I would primarily focus on the interior of Echo Base. I think that would be a really cool opportunity to have some really nice base elements and really just make a nice, giant, cohesive base. I think there'd be some awesome stuff there. Number 6 for me is going to be Indoor. Once again, kind of no-brainer. It's a big forest. I think that Lego and foliage just go together hand in hand. Like, seeing a bunch of Lego foliage all together in a build is just so satisfying. And Indoor, there's just so many beautiful things you can incorporate into a build like that. Next up, episode 7, I'm going to go with the Battle of Takodana. I've seen some really good builds of Maz's castles, and I feel like it would be a fun thing to build, but I'm almost more compelled to build the post-castle destruction part of the battle, where Maz's castle is just in ruins. You have stormtroopers running around everywhere. Kylo's shuttle, of course, is parked there. And then a giant lake with some Resistance X-Wings flying over them. Episode 8, I'm going to go with Canto Bight. I know, Canto Bight. I want to offend somebody right now. But I think Canto Bight is just a beautiful Star Wars location. I think if some Star Wars fans get over themselves and the amount of hate they have in their heart for episode 8, they could come to appreciate, just the beauty of the location of Canto Bight. And I think that it would make for a gorgeous looking build. Episode 9's build for me would be Kijimi. A pretty unique looking location in Star Wars as far as I'm concerned. And I think it'd be fun for a build, especially with like the First Order occupation that's happening in that city. And you can even have like a giant First Order Star Destroyer build just kind of looming over the city. I think that'd also be really fun. Next question comes from Filthy Soap. He says, question, so Jay, out of the 3 different eras of AT-AT sets, which one was your favorite and which has the best design choice in your opinion? Personally, I like the second era of AT-AT the most, the one that came out in the early 2000s. It's hard. So I guess maybe you could classify the AT-ATs in eras. I think for me, it's more easy just to think of them as for like which one came out as opposed to just eras. So the first one technically was the Mindstorms one. I'm going to assume the one you're referring to is 4483. And for the longest time, that one was my favorite by far. I loved it pretty much up until the 2020 AT-AT. And I think that one took the cake. That set, I did a review on it, and it's just kind of perfect, honestly. Like, the usage of interior space, there's basically nothing wasted in the entire body of the vehicle. Everything like has some sort of play feature or purpose built into it, and I love that ship because of that. That being said, I'm guessing you're not going to include this one, but I have to state this just so people know. The UCS ATAT is by far the best, without question, without a doubt. Like, that one is the GOAT. But if we're setting that one aside, still going to go with the 2021. I think that the 2003 one, that's 4483, that one was really good for a very long time, and it's kind of surprising that that set seemed to have aged so well. But I think that the play features, the sturdiness of the 2021, combined with the overall aesthetic, like, they just knocked it out of the park with that set. Next question comes from Squidman. He says, "What are your thoughts on removing printing from parts? It's something that I've recently considered because of the Series 22 hacker slash explorer lady with the toucan having dual molded legs that are perfect for my Captain Antilles from the Tantive 4 that don't exist without the printing." This is a great question. Generally, I'm pretty fine with erasing print from Lego. It's something that I have done before. Back in the day, before we had like dual molded light gray and black pants, I erased it from, I think it was like the emo guy collectible minifigure, to put it on one of the light gray torsoed Imperial officers. I also made a custom, I don't really custom, I mean, it's a purist, quote unquote, Biggs Darklighter. I think Bart the Bowman, and I just erased his like beard and such, and put that head on a Rebel pilot, and it looked like Biggs. I found like a tutorial for that on Eurobricks back in the day. Next question comes from Dutastic. He says, "YQAJ, what is your preferred way to watch Star Wars? Do you have access to the unspecialized Star Wars movies?" So fortunately I do. My guy Playmation, who is just the best ever. Like, Ben, just, I can't even begin to tell you how awesome Ben is and all the things he's been able to do for me. He's just a friend really like no other. But he was kind enough to send me Blu-rays of the despecialized editions of the original Star Wars movies. As for my preferred way to watch them, I'm assuming you mean like watch order, right? Maybe? Or do you mean like on a TV? I'm just assuming you mean watch order. Release order is, I think, always the way to go. I think there's certain things baked into the story that make sense to watch in that certain way. Like if you watched it in chronological order, it just wouldn't have the same impact as if you kind of got some information beforehand and then some blanks filled in after the fact. So release order, I think, is always the way to go. And final question comes from Dek Okoye. He says, "Congratulations, old rich boy. You have been upgraded from Lego Retail to Lego Star Wars Team Head Supervisor." Wow. Now, since you're a part of the Lego Star Wars team, we have to let you in on a secret. We have no current plans for the summer wave. Boo. As head supervisor of Lego Star Wars team, it is now your job to make the 2022 summer wave. Please be realistic and use price points from previous or ones that may not have surfaced. Good luck. Hope you remember me from the live streams. Of course I remember you, Dek. How can you forget a name like Dek Okoye? So let's dive into it. I went ahead and I made my list, and I have a group of sets. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 total sets for the summer wave. I basically just took the like rumored price list, and I just kind of filled in the blanks and made the sets that I would do if I were, the head of Lego Star Wars and they were in a position where, 3 months ahead of time, they still had no plans for the summer wave. So let's jump right into it. First set is going to be at a price point of $29.99. It's called Geonosian Army or something along those lines. It would basically be the kind of progression of the 501st Battle Pack, quote unquote. It would come with 3 Geonosians, 2 Geonosis battle droids, and a droidica, and the build would probably be like a Geonosian satellite build or something like that. And maybe even a little bit of Geonosis terrain. That might be interesting as well. But this would, like I said, kind of be like the Geonosis version of the 501st Battle Pack, kind of that $30 super battle pack that comes with a good amount of figures. And I think that given the fact that we got, the clone pack, I think this would be a great complement to that set that would come out in the summer of 2022. The next set is also a $29.99 set. It's Obi-Wan Jedi Starfighter. Obviously, people have rumored this one. I think that even if it wasn't rumored, it would just be smart to do because it's just a good, easy, small set you can make. But for the minifigs, I would include Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm still not sure if it's necessary to include R4P17 in this set, given that, like, during the time period, R4 didn't have a full body. So if they want to include him, that's fine. If they want to just put his head on the build, I think that is also perfectly acceptable. Because that's all he was. He was literally just a head built into the ship. And then it would also include Lama Su, the Kaminoan who greets Obi-Wan. And the Obi-Wan figure would have like, I don't know, I'd kind of do him similar to the way Obi-Wan was done in the, what set is that? Maybe it's the like 2014 Cantina. Basically the Obi-Wan that has like the brown robe like printed onto his body. I think that they did like the younger Obi-Wan that way and kind of had him like soaked in water. I think that would look pretty cool. Just to give us like a unique episode 2 Obi-Wan. Next set is a $39.99 set. It is just called Snowspeeder. It comes with Luke, Dak, and a Snowtrooper. Yes, this is going to be the longly awaited Lego Snowspeeder update that we have just deserved. It would be a light gray build. They would introduce a new canopy piece, and all would be right in the world. Next up is a $49.99 set. It is titled Exegol Battle. I think this set just deserves to be made. Like, it is a very important scene in Episode 9. It's a very important scene in Star Wars, and LEGO just needs to make it. It would include Rey. It would include the redeemed Ben Solo, as well as the zombie Emperor, and the build would probably be the Emperor's weird, like, Game of Thrones throne, and maybe his little contraption that helps him float around the room. This next set is a $59.99 Jedi Geonosis Attack. Now, what this set is going to be, it's basically going to be a build of like a small section of the grandstands on Geonosis, the Geonosis Arena, and it would come with Boltar Swan, Asian Kolar, and 2 Geonosians. As for why I chose Boltar Swan and Asian Kolar, Boltar is just a Jedi they've never made, so I think that'd be a cool addition. And Asian's one that they have made, but they haven't had in quite some time. So I think it'd be cool to just get, him in a, relatively cheap $59.99 set. And then, of course, the 2 Geonosians would be just the people kind of hanging out in the stands. And this would kind of be representing the scene where the Jedis enter through the, entrances and the stands of the Geonosian arena, and they start fighting the droids and the Geonosians. Next set is $69.99 Maz's Castle. It includes Rey, Maz, Finn, Captain Atheno, Quiggled, and the big red droid. Now, trust me, I really did want to include Bazine Natal in this set, but it just, I don't know. I didn't think it really made sense to throw her in this set, given that it's only a $70 set. So, had to make some choices. I thought that Atheno and Quiggled kind of made more sense to have as a tandem, especially given the fact that Finn negotiates, escaping off-world with them. And I think that the big red droid maybe isn't necessarily even a figure, but just a cool build that they could include. But this would be Maz's Castle with an emphasis on the interior of the build. They'd have maybe a table where Maz and the rest of the crew are sitting, a table with Quiggled and Atheno, and then maybe a separate room where Rey goes and finds the lightsaber. The next set is going to be a $99.99 set. It's going to be called Outlander Club. It's going to include Obi-Wan, Anakin, Zam, Elin Sleaze Pagano, that one lady in a thong, that one Twi'lek lady, and I don't know, maybe like that character that Ahmet Best is playing. So this set is not just going to be the club. This set is actually going to be kind of a 3-part set. The set is going to include the speeder that Anakin and Obi-Wan fly in. It's going to include Zam's speeder, and then it's also going to include a not really substantial build of the club. And I kind of did it this way because, I kind of wanted both of these sets, but I didn't think it contextual. I don't think Lego's ever going to just do the Outlander Club by itself. I think that would just not really be a realistic set for them to do. So I think this is the only way we could have that represented, and I think it's worth doing, including it with those 2 popular speeders, and then kind of giving them a place to land next to the club, and basically just being able to recreate the scene with the Zam and the Jedis in the club. That's kind of my rationale behind it. All right, next set is a $99.99 set again. It is going to be a Jango Fett Slave One. I know, you've all been waiting for it. This set is just so long overdue. It is so long overdue. But of course, it's going to include Jango Fett, preferably with a new darker skin tone, and maybe even a hairpiece to throw on him if you decide to display him that way without the helmet. It's going to come with a young Boba Fett, as well as a Tuan Wee figure, I think it just makes sense to throw Tuan Wee in there, given that she's the one who kind of meets up with them and introduces Obi-Wan to them. So it'd be kind of cool to get two Kaminoans in one Lego Star Wars wave. Next set is $139.99. It is going to be an ATTE. Yes, this is one of the ones that is already pretty heavily rumored already, so we're just going to stick with it. I think it should come with a clone lieutenant. I don't know why I just chose a random color. That was not the commander. A pilot, as well as two B2 battle droids. I think this should maybe also come with a Jedi, following a relatively similar formula to the 2013 one. So I don't know. Take your pick. Maybe Shaak Ti. I don't know. Some just cool Jedi we've never gotten before would be nice. And then finally, we have the $159.99 set. This is going to be a Geonosian arena. It's going to include Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, Claude, Dooku, Poggle the Lesser, and two of the Geonosians that come with helmets, the ones that kind of bring out the Reek, Akle, and Nexu. Obviously, those three creatures would be included. The main part of the build, I guess, will be those three creatures, as well as the three pillars that our heroes are on. And then it would kind of be bookended by the, I guess, like, area where Dooku and Poggle are standing, just that little area of the stadium. Now notice that I'm not including any of the grandstands in this set, and the idea of this is that this set could combine with my aforementioned Jedi Geonosis attack set, the $60 one. So, if you want to just get, some grandstands and some Geonosians, you can get that smaller set. But if you want to get the big $160 set and expand it, you can get multiples of that Jedi Geonosis attack set and kind of add grandstands to the sides to the main area where Dooku and Poggle are standing. So if you want, a big circular stadium, you can get a bunch of them. If you just want like a semicircle or quarter circle, you can just get a few, but basically attach them to either side. And then the more you get, the more it would kind of form a circle. So I like that. I love that cross set connectivity where you can, buy multiples of one set to really accentuate the really big set. It also kind of encourages you to want to collect. Like, I don't know, I like when sets not only contextually match, but also you can connect them together, similar to how, the Lego Hogwarts sets were, not too long ago. So that is going to be it. Definitely want to know what you guys think about my idea for a wave of sets this year. It's obviously very episode 2 heavy. I'm in my episode 2 mood. It is the 20th anniversary of episode 2, so I think it makes sense to commemorate that movie with a bunch of new sets. I try to keep it somewhat realistic. I know a lot of these seem like pipe dreams at the moment, but who knows? Lego could be full of surprises when it comes to this summer. We really are going to have to wait and see just how far they're willing to go to give us something really cool for the summer wave. So hopefully that you are happy with my answer to that question. Of course, guys, in the comment section, discuss what you think about the wave. And that's all I got for you guys today. So if you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support that channel by smashing that subscribe button. And I'll be back again very soon.